Welcome back to Middle East Unfiltered, where we go beyond the headlines to bring you the stories and voices shaping the region. Today, we're joined once again by Giulia Hazima, Israeli Druze educator, researcher, and advocate. In our last conversation, Giulia shared with us invaluable insight about the Druze community. This time, we'll take a closer look at the challenges the community is facing in the wake of recent events in Sweida, hear how our people are responding on the ground, and explore what the future may hold for the Druze in the region. Giulia, it's a pleasure to have you back with us. Thank you for joining us again.
Hi, thank you so much for having me again.
Thank you, Giulia. So, Giulia, we met last week. Can you tell us about the latest developments concerning the Druze in Syria?
Since last week, nothing unfortunately has changed in terms of humanitarian aid or opening the humanitarian corridor. The only things that have been going on are meetings from His Eminence Sheikh Muwaffaq Tarif with any possible international figure or entity that can help and aid in those matters. Just yesterday, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited His Eminence, Sheikh Muwaffaq Tarif in Julis to discuss the crisis in Sweida. The meeting went on while having Sheikh Muwaffaq Tarif present the urgent demands that we're still working on for now. Do think that no more killings are happening, but kidnapping is still going on and is still happening just about now too, unfortunately. So the urgent demands from Sheikh Muwaffaq Tarif goes as follow: immediate and lasting ceasefire, safe humanitarian corridor under U.S. and international guarantees, lifting the siege on Sweida, release of abducted men and women. We have over 700 abducted men and women, by the way. We still have over 200 women. This is the exact number that I got yesterday, over 200 women. And unfortunately, some of those women that are listed in the abducted list, I was told that not all of them actually are abducted, but rather some of them might be dead and are still in the over 30 villages that got captured by the Bedouin tribes, HTS, and ISIS militias, etc. So there are still bodies there that they just couldn't retreat, and some of these women might be among the dead, unfortunately. And the meeting goes on by also demanding the return of displaced Druze villages. We have over 100,000 displaced Druze people from their villages. Some of them are in Sweida. And then we also have the demands of reconstruction and compensation for the damages and independent UN investigation into the atrocities, not having the Syrian regime do the investigation because, after all, it was done based on their orders. So it would be so ridiculous to have them do the investigation. So independent UN investigation would be necessary at this point. So Benjamin Netanyahu condemned the massacres and called them as barbaric crimes, and also pledged Israel's support for humanitarian corridors and declaring South Syria as demilitarized zone.
I want to refer to the Israeli-Syrian security agreement.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to read what Minister of Foreign Affairs Israel Katz. He had a post 4 days ago, and it says like this: the IDF will remain at the peak of the Mount Hermon and in the security zone necessary to protect the Golan and the Galilee settlements from threats looming from the Syrian side, as the main lesson from the events of October 7th. We will continue to protect the Druze in Syria as well. If you could tell us if you know what people in the Druze villages in southern Syria and also in Israel. What do they think about it, about the agreement?
And there are so many conflicting opinions about the agreement because, first of all, it's called the security agreement. No one knows what actually had been discussed regarding this agreement, but all we know is the Druze and the mentioning of the Druze of Sweida is in there, that both sides have to guarantee the protection of the Druze in Sweida and not just Suwayda, also beyond Sweida, as this is what also Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said yesterday, and His Eminence Sheikh Muwaffaq Tarif, that they are also guaranteeing the safety of all Druze in Syria, not just Suwayda. So this security agreement, if it's gonna happen, as they discussed, I think at the end of September, there has to be a corridor, a humanitarian corridor that will lead to the breaking of the siege in Sweida, that this crisis will end, no more massacres, and infinite ceasefire deal, let's say, no more ceasefire violations. There has to be an absolute one. So if this can't happen, nothing is then worth it. Like, for what are we having disagreement? On what basis? After all, Ahmad al-Sharia, the president of Syria, has to go by these rules. And if not, they already have blood on their hands. And Israel had made many promises to protect the Druze, regardless of all what the Syrian regime has done. So this agreement has to come with conditions, and one of them is to guarantee the safety of the Druze all over Syria, not just Suwayda. So there are many conflicting opinions about it, if it's going to happen or not, and if it's really verified or even, let's say, real to start with. Yeah,
What will be considered as an accomplishment for the Druze?
to have an autonomy, let's say, like they don't see themselves anymore as part of Syria or the Syrian regime. They would feel like successful in what they have done if they receive autonomy, that they would rule their own province. And as promised before, to also have a protection, foreign protection, whether Israeli or US, just to be not under the rule of the Syrian regime. So this would be an accomplishment for all of them, and also to have all the kidnapped people back. Again, women, children, and men. They have three children, as far as I know, infants among those also children, unfortunately. So yeah, this would be an accomplishment for all the Druze.
Yeah, I'm listening to you, and it's very sad.
And to have also the villages or the 30 villages that are still captured, they need to get back to their homes, even though most of their houses are burned and the loved ones are still not found or anywhere to be seen. Their destiny is not even known to any of them. Having all the villages that got captured be released is also an accomplishment for them.
It's just like October 7th.
Indeed, indeed, it is.
It is
It's
October 7th.
even worse. You know what I see the difference between the October 7th we had here in Israel and the one that happened in Sweida? It's that we had it for one day and we had the problem with the negotiating with a terrorist entity to get back the hostages, while in Sweida, all the massacres didn't happen just in one day. It went over and over for weeks. And the kidnapping is still going on. It didn't stop, unfortunately.
Do the Druze trust the Syrian regime?
After what happened, absolutely not. None of them. Just yesterday, I had an interview with a prominent figure in Syria that I was told he had a very different aspect of the life in Syria, and he had different opinions regarding the regime. In terms of, at some point, I was shocked to hear that everything flipped upside down. Like the people that we used to know about them living under the Islamic and Arab world are now having their brainwashing that happened to them switched or cleaned, let's say. They're seeing the truth as it is. Hearing that person yesterday in the interview actually condemning Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Hamas, and what happened in Gaza, and also all the terrorist entities in Syria, all of a sudden was so mind blowing that the people are actually awakening there. They're going through a very tough process at this moment of waking up and learning about the truth that had been hidden or stolen from them. The voices that are coming from Syria among the Druze, they are different than the ones we used to hear years ago. People are waking up and changing to the good. So, no, the majority there, let's say over 99%, don't want Al Julani's regime besides that traitor like Al Belarus.
Julia, thank you. Thank you for your update. It was very interesting and eye opening. To those listening, I'm attaching your X account in the description. They want to follow you, and then they will be updated daily. I want to thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Glad to hear that. Thank you so much for having me and hope to keep up coming with good updates.